Hi everyone, this is Brad from Board Game Geek. I'm here at the Hairbrained Schemes booth with Jordan and Mike. And the first thing I'd like to talk to you about is what we're seeing behind us, which is BattleTech.
Yeah.
It's a property that's been around for a long time, but missing some great digital iterations as of recently. So can you tell us a little bit about that project?
Yeah, sure. So we agree with you. We think for what we want to do with this version of BattleTech is to kind of bring it back to some of its roots. When I designed the tabletop game 31 years ago, an embarrassingly long time, it was about how small groups of men in really powerful armored suits can make big differences in the world, you know, and then kind of things got really big in scale, and we want to go back to that beginning point, 3025. So this is a turn-based tactical game, right? You're in command of a lance of 4 mechs, and of their mech warriors, and it is kind of very tactical in its nature. So you're really tweaking the components of the mechs, tweaking the loadouts of the mechs, managing the mech warriors through their skill trees and training them to be the guys you want them to be, men and women that you want them to be for the battles you're going to run.
Deciding which missions to take, which contracts to accept, which house you want to work for, that sort of thing.
Yeah, because the role is that you're playing a mercenary commander, and so you're building up your mercenary troop from square one in the Machiavellian politics of the era of 3025. The noble houses all vying with each other for supremacy and using mercenaries as the vehicle by which they do so.
Cool. So will it be, obviously it's a purely digital product, will it be kind of like an isometric type view game, or?
It is a purely digital product, PC and Mac. The point of view is somewhere top-down-ish. We're not, for some...
Elevated, but it will be a fully 3D title, unlike our previous Shadowrun titles.
That's right.
2.5.
And we're hoping that, we can combine the kind of control dynamics from a higher point of view with cinematic results from more kind of human eye point of view, but we're still in pre-production, so none of that stuff's locked down yet.
So having designed the original game and now coming back to it many years later digitally, what kind of have you been able to do? Because games have changed over time. Kind of what are you able to do now that you couldn't have done then?
Well, it's true. It's something Mike and I talk a lot about, because the game that we're talking about making is kind of what was in my imagination, but impossible for us to make 30 years ago. The way that we can actually have the performance of the mech change in subtle ways based upon the components that you put into it. That kind of stuff would have just been like way overkill for the board game. Would have dragged it down into crazy town. And even the game from 30 years ago is kind of slow compared to modern games, right. You know what I mean? And so but now we believe that through innovations in user interface design and just the processing power that we have available, we can take that kind of depth of play, but make it fast and accessible,
Not to mention the experience with both turn-based combat and storytelling and RPG mechanics that we've developed over the last few Shadowrun titles.
Yeah.
We can bring that to bear. This is a very different game. It's a tactical combat game with RPG elements as opposed to an RPG like Shadowrun, but it still gives us a lot of experience to draw upon with the team here at Hairbrained.
Well, and this is, I probably have lost count of the number of BattleTech computer games I've made.
Right.
Everything from the big cockpits, which are still here at Gen Con, from the virtual reality centers we built in the 90s, to the PC titles of the later 90s, or Mech Commander, which we did as well. So we've been at this a number of times, and it really gives us a lot of experience to draw from for a new version, because it's been 15 years since I made my last BattleTech game. I'm really excited to do it again.
That's really awesome.
A lot of the world building, actually, and things that the Golem team was working on, is also some interesting parallels that we can bring to BattleTech.
Cool. Speaking of that, maybe we can move over to Golem for a few minutes. Last year, it was kind of its debut at Gen Con. Now here, it seems like it's going off the shelves like crazy, and lots of people playing and checking it out. How has that product grown over the last year?
It's grown quite dramatically. The player base continues to grow. Communities are forming around the country where we're getting a lot of great play. The national championships are running here this year and are booked out, filled out to capacity, which is great. A lot of new figures, beautiful figures like Ashmog here, which is just gorgeous.
This guy's awesome.
He is just the sculpting work done by our team is just amazing, and and the app itself has changed enormously in the year that since we've been here. We've added so many features, such as the ability to create your own scenarios and create your own banners for your armies, to communicate, to trade armies in places that don't have any kind of internet connection, things like that, which were some limitations. A huge amount of UI improvement, and just generally, I mean, I can't even remember all the features we've added because there's so many. But it's been a huge amount of growth in the game community and the game app and itself, and then just tons of new figures.
Awesome. Yeah, I've seen some really cool ones, like the one we just saw, as well as it looks like there's one with like changeable face plates, which look really awesome as well.
Yeah, that Valkyrie. Where you change, you can put different faces on her. Oh, Mike's gonna grab it here.
Might as well show her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, this looked really cool to me when I saw it.
All these faces, the player can change the faces. She wears 4 faces at a time. You can see a couple of the other faces down there, and then that also changes what magical abilities she brings to the battlefield.
That's really awesome. Are there any plans for like campaign content or anything with Golem?
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned it, because we have been. One of the things that to me is most exciting that's taken place over the last year is we've had 2 seasons of what we call storyline games.
Okay.
So these are scenarios that are published that are automatically downloaded in the app that have really rich story content built into them, where you actually encounter characters and have to make moral choices and choices out of desperation within the context of a multiplayer game. All of those choices, as well as the final results of the battles, are automatically uploaded to our servers.
Oh, wow.
And those change the fiction of the world. Not only just who won the battle, but the choices made by the players representing different factions become the choices that the commanders of those factions made.
Okay.
So if you decided not to help the refugees out of a city battle, then the faction you fought for, that commander now has more of a heartless kind of demeanor, because they pursued the victory as opposed to helping the refugees.
Wow.
Right? So the players are really affecting the story of the world by the play at their home and at the organized play events.
Okay.
We've also done now our first competitive league, which went really well, and players earn prizes for participating as well as for winning, which then they can use for the digital knights and Ancient One characters.
Awesome. So something I met with you about at PAX, I guess, was Necropolis. Can you give us an update on how that's coming along?
Absolutely. There's been a lot of progress on Necropolis since PAX. I think one of the big things, first of all, PAX East was just awesome. Like we showed the game for the first time. Really couldn't have asked for a better, embracing of the title, and I think we really found a space for that kind of like Dark Souls meets Spelunky kind of roguelike, right? And so I think the work after PAX has really been, well, how do we flesh that out? How do we fully realize that? And upgrade to Unity 5 too while we're at it. But all that's coming together, and we're going to have a brand new build of Necropolis with a whole bunch of new fully procedural stuff to show at PAX Prime here coming up.
So and the procedural world generation, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And there's so many new characters and environments the team has been making. I think the PAX Prime version will show a huge step forward.
Awesome. So I don't want to kill your voices, but just one last thing is Shadowrun. Oh, okay. Yeah, you just got here, right? So
maybe not on the sleep.
So Shadowrun Hong Kong looks like it's coming out next month. Can you tell us a little bit about that and maybe future plans for Shadowrun?
Sure, yeah. I mean, we're in the home stretch on Hong Kong, so we're really focused on that right now. But we do know that we're going to be putting together a mini campaign shortly after that. That's going to basically, this is something we talked about in our Kickstarter campaign that was unlocked as a stretch goal. But there is going to be a short mini campaign that follows on to the events, following the events of Shadowrun Hong Kong with the same team. And ties up, without spoilers, it'll tie up, a certain thing from...
He's struggling not to tell you the story.
I should just say it's its own continuation.
That's right.
So there will be more.
But it comes out August 20th, which we were surprised how many Kickstarter backers were like, wait a minute, you're actually shipping it in the month you said you were going to ship it?
I know. I was a little surprised.
But the team has just done a great job. It's not only a new story and a new setting, but there's so many upgrades. I mean, the art took a big step forward. It looks beautiful. The Matrix is entirely new, with a whole bunch of new gameplay. There's been all sorts of like inventory systems that you can now trade inventory between party members, and tons of new features in it as well. It's
the best looking Shadowrun game we've made. Can't wait to have you guys play it, and it's available for pre-order now on Steam, GOG, and Humble.
Well, thank you guys again so much. I know we went through a lot of things, but you guys are doing a lot of great stuff that touches, board games, and board games turn digital, and RPGs turn digital, all sorts of great things. So thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you, Bradley.
No, thank you.
Thanks.